How do I look?
You look good.
Okay.
Yeah. How do I look?
You look great. You look perfect for recording.
So let's jump right into it then. What are we doing today? We are doing values. So from the thumbnails, we're now going to develop one thumbnail to fully render it out just before you apply the colors.
Did you pick the one that you think is most interesting? Why is this the most interesting one to you?
It is not the most interesting one for me.
Oh, okay.
But it's the most random one, I have to say. It's the one that doesn't limit me in any way because nothing's really established. I just like the depth. I like the guy in the foreground. He's kind of just chilling over there.
The thumb itself is a lot looser than the others.
Yeah, it really
This is what they should look like, you think, right?
I think this is what they should look like.
When you do a thumb.
It should be like an idea starter. Something you put down on the canvas that kind of gets you thinking a bit.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing here? You're just chiseling?
I'm just chiseling, making the foreground a little bit more opaque. Extending it upward a little bit. So this is like fixing the thumbnail because there's the different aspect ratio. I think this is a tabloid, 11 by 17 canvas.
So this is the idea of the monster under the water again?
No, I did a whole sheet of mostly just an explorer.
Okay.
And he's going to these different landscapes, I guess, looking for things.
And so what's this, a glowing stone or something?
I have no idea.
So even you, at this point, you don't know what you're doing?
I have no idea what
You're
I'm
just
doing.
exploring?
I just...
Just waiting until something appears to you, or...?
Well, I know my focal point is over there. I know that they established 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
The depth and the layers. But what exactly are we focusing on is still up in the air. So I'm just brushing here, making the midground kind of extended to kind of connect it to the foreground. Because a lot of times when you do 3 layers, they really look like cardboard cutout 3 layers. I mean, in real life, there's a lot more continuity between these 3. There's depth being carried out.
A lot more connections.
Yeah. So you really got to be mindful about the atmospheric perspective. With things further away have like a closer value range. You can't be using your brightest brights and also your darkest darks really, really further away. There's some exception to the rules, but you want to stay generally pretty true to that. Just add a little bit of a fog over there.
Just tightening up the directions, I guess?
Pretty much. I want to give a little bit of a rim light on the character, just so that it doesn't really matter right now, but just to me that I need to balance out details sometimes because these are the 2 points that people are going to look at. I'm going through a lot of brushes. Mostly I always default back to a few that I actually really use. This one's great. It's really opaque when you want it to be. I like those brushes where they give you the control and you can be really opaque. Most of the time you're painting 100% anyways.
What are you doing here?
Still trying to find what I want.
Still searching for it, huh?
Yeah. Because I'm changing the composition a little bit. I guess the thing is I don't want to fall in love with anything too early. Because I go by the rule that my first idea is always the worst idea. I guess right now I'm trying to funnel everything into the focal point. So the midground needs a lot of work. Right now I don't care about the foreground right now. The guy can chill there for a bit. But the focal point, like the subject matter rather, is that I need to make this thing look somewhat interesting. Whether it be rocks or statues or something.
I like that, what you just did there. It's making it look really nice.
A lot of the times when we paint, we're kind of getting happy accidents. So I just go through my brush menu and try a few different brushes.
That's kind of neat. Yeah, you're pretty much just like grabbing a bunch of different texture brushes and trying to give yourself as many happy accidents as possible.
Yeah, because right now there's no details.
Yeah, and you really don't really care. You just want something interesting at this point, right?
Yeah.
So basically just blitzing it with a bunch of texture brushes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's probably really good for artist block too, I guess. Just blitz something with a bunch of texture brushes until you get something good. Is that usually how you work, though?
I like to work really rapidly, really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times I throw away my painting. If it doesn't work, I'll just throw it away, and it only took me about 20 minutes. So for something like this, I'll explore a little bit. Definitely not getting down to committing anything yet.
Oh, that's a nice lasso. Lasso, doing work so early. Oh.
It's just, this is basically like still a thumbnail stage,
Mm-hmm.
just more extended. Like you're starting to develop it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
We're always working big to small and working on the entire painting at once. And there, I just flipped it. The flipping, it gives you a new perspective on your own painting. Sometimes you've been working on the same thing for so long. Your sense of perspective, your sense of everything kind of get
It's skewed up.
skewed
It's
up
kind
a
of like
little bit.
looking through someone else's eyes when you look at it.
Yeah,
flipped.
exactly. Not quite as that far, but you can catch a lot more mistakes by just mirroring it, even. So you should actually set up a shortcut key. Photoshop doesn't do this, but you should just go into preferences, shortcuts, and get yourself a shortcut key for flipping. And this is the thing that you should be doing when you're concepting before you get all the composition things done. I use Control Alt H. It kind of make a little bit of sense. H should flip it horizontally.
Mm.
And use your values, really. Like, your midtones, your midgrounds have so much values, range to play around with.
But you don't want to, like, do you eyedrop much off your painting, or do you try to avoid that to keep it, like...
I do that mainly because it's really fast and I don't have like a plug-in for a color wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I pick a new color, I gotta go back to the sidebar and open up a window to do that.
I
do. I saw it in the sense that you hold down the Alt key, you eyedrop your own paintings, and you just push and pull values.
I suppose.
At any given point, you're painting, from the concept, from the thumbnail stage, you should have the full range of values. Never use 100% white, never use 100% black. 100% white is okay when you sort of like wanting your light to be bloomed out, but you want to be you want to be in control of your values. You don't want the same value range in your foreground and the same value range in your backgrounds. It'll flatten out the entire image.
Do you have any refs, like secret refs on the side here, or are you just still all going through your head?
This is pretty much all going through my head. I guess in my mind I'm thinking Monster Hunter and something with rocks. So I always wanted to paint environment with the interactions with like characters in it, and the characters like doing something or looking for something.
Just getting that silhouette nice.
Yeah, fumbling around with this guy. This guy's kind of weird. I'm not sure about the scale yet, but just gonna lay him in there for now. Slim him down a little bit. So I'll work back and forth throughout my painting.
And you don't do much photo bashing ever, really.
There's really no point doing photo bashing right now. If you start adding photos right now, then you're letting photo direct where you're going with this.
I see.
Because right now you don't have like a compositional thing set, and you start using photo now. You pretty much
you're letting it dictate the pace instead of your own brush, your own hand.
You really have to have a clear idea before you even get close to looking at photographs and stuff like that. Like photo bashing, here's the thing. I'm not against using photos at all. I use tons of them. But in terms of design and stuff like that, you want to have your own idea. Photos are there to speed up the process, give you a more realistic edge, add more details and doodads in your painting. But the moment you let photos design for you, you are I would say you're going in the wrong direction.
So at the end, it's better when that kind of thing, for that kind of thing to come in.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the painting.
For rendering, for polishing up and saving time, yeah, there's not one way to paint. There's multiple ways to paint. Using
photo bashing is a substitute for rendering, not a substitute for composition. Is what you're saying. That's why you wouldn't want to photo bash at this point, which is not.
I would strongly suggest to get your own composition. When you're doing matte painting as extensions, then you're grabbing from the plate. That's the only time where you're being limited by like a photograph, because when you get a plate for matte painting, that's pretty much all your values. All your values, your darkest dark, your brightest brights are what's available in that image. Otherwise, if you're just doing concept art, there's no reason to limit yourself.
This is nice. Look, it became a waterfall.
Kind of, yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at here. I'm trying to establish the ground plane too.
And I could tell that kind of just popped out too. Like you didn't plan it to be a waterfall. It just became one. Just kind of feel like
it adds to it.
Yeah.
There's a little directional thing when you add moving elements inside of a rather static painting. Yeah. All of this is done in real time, so it's really, you see the brush strokes are really fast. It's kind of just exploring.
Oh, this is all real time.
This is not sped up.
What? No. Oh, you're fast, Frank.
No, it's just like you don't need details. You don't worry about making mistakes at this point.
I thought maybe it was like, I don't know, maybe 2 times speed or something.
No.
Nice.
But when you get to like the precise part of say anatomy and figures, then you tend to spend a little bit more time getting it accurate, because it's something that you can make a mistake in. When you're painting rocks, then anything goes, really. You can't really make a wrong rock.
It's all just about what the shape does for the comp.
Yeah. And I like pitting this character against a relatively flat background. If you have things too busy right next against each other, they'll fight. So right now, both the character and the background, they're kind of in the same value range. I want to be really careful about that. There's a lot of contrast that you can use to do these things, to do layering and things like that. If the values are too close, maybe you can add like a fog in the background to separate it out a little bit. Otherwise, you can separate it by having a lot of details on one and then not a lot of details on the other. So it's like a render thing against a flat thing.
So now you know it's going to be explorer looking at a waterfall.
I'm trying to think of a story for this, but so far I just wanted to look decent. Still exploring. You'll see me use the default round brush a lot. It's really versatile because it gives you that level of value control. That's basically all this video is about. It's about value, taking it a little bit a step further, using all your values to push and pull.
I've noticed that you're painting totally different now than when you just started, where it was just a blitz of like texture brushes. Now you're getting in there with this brush and a lasso, and
yeah, you're kind of pushing. Actually, you're pulling the local values closer. So right now over there, I'm trying to make the rocks, pull them in a value range over there that's appropriate to its distance and its reaction to sunlight. So I'll circle an area and I'll flatten it in.
And then blend it out like that.
Blend it out, yeah. It helps to squint your eyes a little bit so that you're seeing just the bigger shapes. All the details, all the textures are gone when you squint your eyes.
And at that moment, everybody squinted their eyes
Yes,
as they were watching the video.
I did too.
And so did I.
Caught you on that one. Yeah.
That was nice. Just
Yeah.
there, that was nice. I like that move.
Flattening out things is almost as important as painting in things. So a lot of the times, you find a certain area lacking depth or lacking form. Just try to flatten out some unnecessary details. And now I think the sunlight is really, it's like behind the rocks. So it's like filtering in with a lot of atmosphere. That's why I want some of the bottom rocks to look a little bit flatter, because they're not getting direct sunlight. They're not getting that 1, 2, 3 read of, angular edge and anything like that.
That's a good way of pointing it. That flattening is just as important, really.
Yeah.
So a lot of people seem to get lost. Me, myself included, just seems to think that everything needs to be rendered well. And
yeah. It's about addition and subtraction.
That's nice too, what you're doing.
So do a little bit of background and I'll leave it for a while.
Oh wow, it looks a lot different when you zoom in. You can see
because your eyes are reacting to the messiness and the lack of detail on some of them.
And getting cinematic with that composition, rather the frame.
Yeah. You want every inch of your canvas to tell a story. If it's getting boring in a certain area, cropping it might put your subject in a better position to tell a story. Getting a bit of texture on the ground there.
Do you remember what you were thinking at this point?
I think I need some texture on the ground there. No, I was thinking, like I was doing before, just connecting the midground to the foregrounds a little bit.
Still doing that. Yeah, it does still seem disconnected.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth there. I also think the guy is really standing weird. I'll go back to that later.
Looks like a first year life drawing pose.
Really stiff, really just like, hey. Yeah, I remember back in Sheridan just doing days and days of life drawing. It really helps. Like if you're an artist and you're doing these things, go grab a newsprint pad, do some life drawing. It's the best kind of practice one can get.
Well, it gives you good habits.
Yeah, exactly. Makes you and don't do long poses.
It's good for shorthands.
Do shorthand.
Life drawing's all about shorthands.
Do short poses. Do 5 minutes at most. Do 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Unless you're going to be a life drawing teacher, you don't need to learn how to do a really good long pose, in my opinion.
Doing long poses helps you with like rendering form.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna render muscles and render form, yeah, you're gonna need 10 minutes and longer. But
shorthands are the fun part, though, man.
Yeah. If you graduated from animation, then you know all about shorthands. It would be impossible for anyone to animate if you don't know certain shorthands. Just getting there, really heavy-handed
rim light here.
Rim light there.
He's a futuristic guy.
Kind of like Daft Punk helmet over there. Still standing kind of weird.
So you're just chiseling at it.
Yep. So the head is what I'm having issues with. I want to just lay something in there and go back to it later.
It's interesting to see that usually when you just see the finished piece, but you don't see how many times you tried it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And especially actually with looking at any artist tutorial, their paint throughs, you realize they almost never get it right the first time.
There's a lot of decision making. Actually, I would almost compare this to like a fighting game. Like before you get through all the move list, you're just grinding and you're trying to do this technique thing. You know, making your button combination work, because you'll mess it up. Most of the time we do mess it up. But once you get to that stage where you're not thinking about the combinations anymore, and your skill became, I guess, like you can render anything, then everything in your painting becomes a decision after decisions. And then it becomes more of a mind game than a skill game. And it's really what separates good artists from the ones that's still trying to make it, is the level of understanding. Your brain is a render engine. I always say that, because the more mature you are as an artist, the more efficient your brain works. You know, calculating lights and doing composition and anything like that, it takes brain power.
Man, I'm just looking forward to your lassos. Like whenever you do a big lasso, it always makes the piece look so much better. I like it a lot.
When you do a lasso, that's when you made like a call.
Yeah, it's when you make a big decision.
It's like that, I'm doing that right there.
This maybe here.
And chiseling is the.
It's funner to watch too.
There are gonna be times where I look at the painting and be like, this is way messy, and then I have to like tidy it up through different layers. I think that's what I'm doing right now. I put a layer on top, turn into multiply, and I started to darken down some areas.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because I really think that the light is just all over the place, and it's not, it's not calculating correctly. I want to find a soft textured brush, something that that'll work with like very misty kind of thing, so you can blend things out. When you're painting 100% opacity, everything's going to be kind of harsh, and then you need that extra layer of blending just to make things fall in place. Again, this is value control. You don't want local values to be jumping up and down. And I'll try to tone it down a little bit. Don't want it to be too dark.
Oh wow, it's so different. You can see it really what's the word? Not muting, but now it's under control.
Yeah,
on that side.
You want to pull that right into the range. And you notice when I make a certain area darker, by relation, the brighter parts start looking a little bit brighter too. So you're separating out the two local values.
I guess you're even simplifying some shapes.
Yeah. I just got rid of that waterfall.
Oh, it's nice while it was there.
I'm starting to add highlights, kind of like the top plane of some of the rocks. A lot of rendering is really thinking about which plane the light actually hits. Even in a very atmospheric painting, there's always a light direction, so getting that in your head will help you render. And since this is all about value, value change equals to form change. It's different planes, how they react to the light direction.
You're just beautifying it here now.
Yeah. Adding detailed rock formations. Not really detailed, really. It's just shorthand for you get the top plane in, and it tells a lot. just that few strokes with the top where the light actually hits, that's where it matters. I still want a little water on the ground too, because it's so reflective, and it brings the top half of the painting right down to the ground. Mm-hmm. If there's no reflection at all, then it becomes really clear cut. You know, there's the bright part, there's the dark part. But when you drag that down, it kind of trickles into reflections and.
Yeah, you could do fun stuff with reflection. I'm noticing that now.
I really like painting rocks. I guess that was the thing that was...
You've always liked painting rocks.
Oh, man.
You gravitate towards them, too.
For some reason. I guess in my past work, I just like... It was either sci-fi or rocks or, you know, nature-y.
You don't even like waterfalls. You're just like, nah, I don't need a waterfall here. Let's put a rock instead.
Well, they kind of go hand in hand, you know.
Goodness.
I remember when I was going to conventions early on, everyone else would be selling a lot of character art.
Anime pinups.
Yeah. And everything. And they're really good at it too. And I would be sitting there in my booth with rocks.
And you'd outsell us anyway.
Rocks.
You'd sell more than all of us with your rocks.
It was only that once.
You gotta wonder though, man, like, for example, your ability to render, like, I guess, granite, like, rocks and stuff, like, nowadays people will just, like I mentioned before, they'll just photo bash it to get that kind of stuff in.
And I'm not even against that. You know? It's just like, it saves so much time.
You're gonna be one of the only guys left who can actually paint them from scratch.
No, I will be far from the only guys left.
Lots of rock noodling here.
Lots of rock noodling. Not even good rock noodling.
This is noodling, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. I guess I was just frustrated about how round and how...
Oh, I'm embarrassed. We're watching you noodle. They're nice rocks, Frank.
Hey, it's getting there. Let me have my rocks.
Your rock moment? Sure.
One could say that you're a rock star.
Yeah, there you go. Look, you're getting... Nice.
I'm getting a bit of, a little bit of something.
Did you say rock star?
What, like their energy drink?
Oh my god.
I know. Sorry. I hate apologizing in my videos. Make that pointy.
Do you even have a story to this yet? Or are you still just...
Oh yeah, wait for it. It's coming.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, it's super exciting. Look at, rock noodling.
No, well, you want to make the focal point stronger. And putting detail there is one of the best ways to put our eyes there, right?
Yeah, I'm just layering a bit of texture on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like even the details on the rocks are still very primitive. There's a point to the painting where, after you apply the color, you're going to zoom into it and start getting really into the nitty-gritty of it.
Mm.
But this is just, form pushing. You get, basic bumps in there.
If you do this now, it's easier to change later.
Yeah, no. Yeah, don't fall in love with any part of your painting. If changing it make the entire painting better, just like destroy it. Okay. Paint over it. That's why I even like just rendering out a little bit more before the photo bashing stage.
Mm-hmm.
Because you really don't want the photos to dictate where you're going with it.
Right.
Now I realize I've lost the focal point because it's so rendered out.
Yeah.
Right? The more I render, the more I lose it.
Definitely. Yeah,
so,
I noticed that too.
So I'm looking at the rocks more. I'm looking at, the pointy things. But,
You're realizing I shouldn't have noodled all this.
No, I mean, yeah. Noodling is fun.
It was fun, but you lost something through it.
So yeah, there's definitely a point where you overwork things. Painting is far from finished, but even then, you know, you still gotta stay focused on what story you're trying to tell. Otherwise, you're losing the point of this.
Who the heck is that?
Oh, there's a little something something. Give it a little bit of a collar. Hey! It's Maleficent.
I can't remember. I don't remember what the finished one. I don't even think I saw the finished version of this painting, so I don't know.
It's anyone's guess now. Look at that lovely cocoon.
And so you just wanted something.
I wanted something
a stronger
yeah.
focal.
Yeah,
point.
Definitely. Because I don't have anything there. I lost the waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
And even the waterfall wasn't, you know, it wasn't impactful enough.
Yeah, it's like, why would I want to look at it?
Yeah, why would I look at that waterfall?
What's going on here?
And you're just doing this all without... Oh. And you're just doing this all without colors, too. You want to get those bases down before you apply the colors. Or I guess unless you're starting with colors, this is a pretty good way to separate out the two.
What are you doing?
The way I paint is that I never really changed the opacity controls.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the brushes I used them all on like 100% flow, 100% opacity.
Mm-hmm.
If I need things to be taken down a bit, I either use a new layer and the layer opacity to blend them,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll erase into it. But it definitely helps to have finer control when you're using new layers. Layers are free, so use a lot of them.
Why don't they have a digital painting course at Sheridan? Like a real one.
I thought they do. Oh wait,
Do they?
not in animation, no. At least when I was there.
Even in illustration, do they actually have one?
They have a traditional one, don't they?
But there should be a digital one, though.
Oh yeah, even the animation one had a traditional one. Gouache. It was gouache mostly.
There's so much you miss out on.
I know. I was tutoring in Sheridan. I applied as a.
Oh, you were tutoring digital painting.
I was tutoring digital painting, but they didn't have a course, so I was a tutor for live drawing and traditional painting.
So you're making bank.
Well,
You're first in the market.
you mean the Sheridan market?
Yeah.
It's not very difficult.
First
really.
digital painter. No?
No. I would not say that. My mentor, Matt Lau, he was doing this stuff way before I even.
Oh yeah, Matt and Toby and those guys, they were awesome. They were
always awesome.
I remember
These are still the guys I look up to when I started painting. But hey,
they were like the motivation.
They were doing this way before I started.
Yeah, they're wicked. But it's funny, some of those guys, it was hard to find time with them to try and steal techniques, you know, because they were in senior years. So
all the stealing was happening in Sheridan.
Well, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
You gotta steal the best techs you can.
Yeah. I almost think the school courses don't matter. It's really the people
Not
that
at
you hang
all.
out with. I've learned more from my peers throughout the 4 years than
Me too. Yeah.
my classes. It doesn't really matter. I don't care where you're from, really. Like Emily Carr or Cal Arts. It's pretty much you're paying for the environment, you're paying for the facilities, and just paint nonstop. You can't depend on the school to make you a better artist.
Have you been there recently? They got screens all over the place now.
Really?
Yeah.
Where?
Just everywhere. Just
Oh.
playing animation stuff.
Yeah, true.
That's nice what you just did there.
I
This
want
that mountain there.
I realize I don't the backgrounds are really bright, so I want to add some depth into it.
That was really nice.
It really separates out because all the midgrounds and,
it
and the
pops
foreground
now.
is like darkened up. Yeah.
This is starting to work.
Yeah. The scale on the little guy, I had to scale it down because
It's a little girl, isn't it?
yeah, it's a bit big.
It's feminine.
Yeah, maybe like kind of got like a Cortana thing going there. You know,
Was
kinda
it his
glowy
girlfriend?
Some Master Chief.
That's a pretty bad Master Chief. Is it in the industry where you're doing lots of work like this, like lots of grayscales for your directors, or were they?
No, this would be amazing if someone paid me to do this.
Yeah.
But throughout, because I was working for mostly films for the past 2 years, and a lot of the stuff are very specific. Actually, most of the stuff are very specific. You get your script, you read it, you try to make everything according to the script. And there's a lot of information not in the script that you will have to talk to your production designer, and then he'll tell you, hey, do this, do that.
A million emails back and forth.
No, and the production designer will give you a little sketch sometimes.
That's
And
nice.
he'll look you over the shoulders too.
What's this here? Adding some grass?
Yeah, some texture, some grass, just to break up the shapes, break up the flat plane really, because that's just flat. Need some verticals. Yeah, film work is a bit different. It's because I was working in games before I jumped into film. A lot of the techniques are the same, but I have to say the experience is completely different. Yeah, sure, they use a lot of photographs. I mean, you kind of have to when you turn around. It's so close.
You have to take some shortcuts.
I'm supposed to make one finished design each day, and then the next day I'll work on something else while refining this.
Jeez.
Like 17 to 18 revisions, easily.
Well, that's why people stay after work's over, and they don't even get paid overtime. Do they?
Oh, for film they do.
Oh, for film? Okay. In game studios I've been at, I've seen guys stay until midnight, but they're not getting paid. They're just there because they need to get their work done.
That happens, yeah. Crunch time, I hate the term.
Crunch.
Because some game studios, you're crunching 24/7. Since the beginning of the project,
Everything is just getting pushed out the door as fast as it can.
I don't mind crunching. And you're getting stuff done, that's awesome.
That's a good feeling, yeah.
You're getting a lot of stuff done in a short amount of time, that's awesome. You feel awesome, right? But what if you're doing this crunching thing because someone else changed their mind, or some decision was like it was a compromise, and you get caught right in the middle of it? I don't like that. I was working matte painting. Worst experience working as a professional artist is matte painting. Like I respect all matte painters a lot more because I've done it for like a year, and I'll still do it, But it's hard work. It's so hard work. Like you see this noodling. This doesn't compare to anything in matte painting. About 40% of matte painting is actually painting.
Yeah.
And then when you're actually painting, you're spending a lot of time with my 1 pixel brush, and I'm going right in there with that 1 pixel brush, and I'm painting buildings.
Tuning this guy up right now.
Tuning him right up. Giving a little prickiness over there.
You don't use much texture brush when you're doing.
There's really no need to. Eventually, if you want this to be colored, you're gonna have to lay a wash on top of it anyways. All the specular highlights, all the textures are. It's much better to do them late game than early on. You want to save the fun until the last.
What's the funnest part for you? Well, the very beginning and the very end?
The funnest part is signing my name in the bottom right corner.
Oh, okay. The funnest part is getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
About half a year later.
Yeah. I think the beginning is really fun when you're blasting it with and hoping for accidents. It's kind of like you're watching it happen.
Yeah, that's the funnest part. Because your brain is on overdrive. You're thinking about all the possibilities and you don't know where you're going to end up. It's great. Just do that.
I've heard that you should never eyedrop off your own painting because it makes the values blend into each other too much.
Yeah, in the beginning you should establish your values with like the thumbnails and everything. Eyedropping off of your own painting, I guess for colored images, it's much better if you're picking directly from the color wheel.
Like as if you're picking from a palette.
Yeah, if you have a palette ready, that would be awesome. But Photoshop still haven't had a painter wheel. There are plugins to do it, and I've tried some of those plugins. They're usually pretty good, but you could still do this just without any plugin. It's not like a necessity.
Looks like you're taking a long look at it here.
Yeah, I'm worried about the background, the cliff on the left side. I think the scale and the eye direction of the guy is a little weird, so I might move him.
The right side of the image is definitely a lot better than the left at this point. So what you gonna do, Frank? What you gonna do?
Move the guy?
Give him some pauldrons?
Make him pretty. Oh, okay. That's my desktop. German colors.
Look at that for inspiration.
Yep. Just like, do this someday, maybe. Like, it looks like it's detailing up the guy, but really it's just random brush strokes giving him a little bit of armor, I guess. This is really easy to do. And it's one of the funnest part, really.
The
So it's just like,
creation of the armor.
yeah.
But ideally, you'd want him to be compositionally perfect first before going into this.
Ideally, yeah, for sure. At least get the pose right or something. But, you know, detail adding is so fun. Sometimes you just forget about everything else. You go right at it. And then you zoom in, and you come out. Oh my God, what's going on?
Looks good. Oh, it's starting to look good. If I was you, I would even fast forward some of the most middly parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That way the video can stay really constantly informative rather than having, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the little parts do take some time.
There's that lasso doing work.
Lasso's doing some work.
Love a good lasso.
I think right at this point I'm thinking Destiny.
Oh, Destiny, the new game
Yeah.
thing. It's some FPS, massively multiplayer thing, right?
Yeah, it's first person too. What do you think about the new generation of games?
I have too many controversial opinions.
True. I still haven't gotten a PS4. I'm waiting for that
You
fun
don't
game.
need one at this point.
No.
I like this. See what you're doing. No ref either, right? You're still just doing it all from your head?
Yeah. Ref will come in later.
Hmm. And you're starting to look cool, yo.
You really gotta zoom out and take a look. Something is not lining up. And I'm worried about that little triangle rock in a focal point. It's such a giant arrow pointing right out so close to the top edge. That might be a problem later on.
Which triangle?
The two triangles,
Oh, the two triangle rocks on
Yeah.
the right side.
they're pointing right off.
Just sending your eyes right off the page
Yeah,
to your ceiling
to the ceiling.
of whatever room you're in right now.
So I'm moving the guy around, but there's no good place for him to be. He's just not staying there. It's not happening. There I am. Taking,
That's nice.
yeah, just moving it around, trying to find a good composition. Right? Recropping the image is kind of important too. So here I have the guy. Maybe he needs to be smaller.
It already looks much better to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking this guy needs to be smaller. This guy's giant. Just so that he's standing somewhat at
Level.
the same level as,
Yeah.
as the girl.
Boy, yeah, when you look at the old version now, the old version looks so weird compared to the
Yeah.
fix.
It's just not lined up correctly.
Are you clone tool or something?
Yeah. Clone tool. Cone tool is so useful. I almost can't do the map painting without the cone tool.
You know what's even better? Lasso tool. Check this out, bro. Sweet.
It's getting right in there. Flattening things out.
Every time you bust out that lasso, I just light up. Like you said before, it means you're making a big decision. Or, well, a decision.
A decision, yeah.
Instead
You're
of
not
a-
just noodling. Actually, I want to urge people that do a lot of noodling to try the lasso tool and try actually flattening parts, actually taking a weight detail.
Mm-hmm.
It can be just as important to take a weight detail than it is to add it. It's all about the contrast. So I'm thinking the guy's a little bit dark, so I want to add it just a zone of buffer.
Mm-hmm.
Just a zone of buffer, so to separate out the guy from the...
So he stands out a bit.
Yeah.
It's a little bit light around
It's
the
not,
back.
yeah, it's not even hard-handed. It's, we're not giving him a strong rim light, but just enough softness against the harsh. I guess that makes sense.
He's not soft enough. You should give him a bouquet of flowers, Frank.
That would make him really soft. I think just going to pull the value a bit more now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm working into the brights. So I put a layer on top and set the blending mode on screen.
Oh, I like this part.
Screen, you know, this is the when you get closer to wrapping things up,
Mm-hmm.
you start fixing lights. Screen just blooms it right out.
Mm.
It's like addition. Screen is a layer that that adds to the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's like the opposite of multiply. Multiply darkens everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Screen adds it on top. So I'm actually erasing back into it a little bit. I don't want the guy to be too bright.
Those details on the rocks doing some work now. They
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah, the light's filtering from the top, so the top is gonna have a bit more those booming effects. I'm gonna tune it down just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Maybe a new layer and set on something else. Overlay, it exaggerates your contrast.
Mm-hmm.
So the way it works is a little bit different than, you know, screening. Screening it adds on top. It doesn't matter what you have on bottom. But overlay, it brings out what's already bright. So it gives you that little kick. It's very important not to be too heavy-handed with the overlay layers.
Especially because it's so fun sometimes to just put that stuff down.
Totally. Could be doing everything. There it is, guys.
Nice values, bro.
Cool. So we'll do some more values next time. Actually, we're going to get some color going.
So, we're done. Thanks for watching. Next time we'll do blah, 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 blah.
I think I'm good.
Okay.